So how's it? Trust that you're all well. If you're a regular follower of mine, you'll notice I've had a haircut, going for a slightly cleaner look. As you know, this vlog is around the fact that I believe that Christ has created us spiritual beings and He's inviting us to perfect the human experience. Now what I figured out is that November seems to be increase month. So this past November I got 2 SMSs and I got a couple of emails, but 2 SMSs from 2 of the banks that I have had dealings with both personally and professionally, and both of them are advising me that they're going to increase my fees in 2020. Now normally I've kind of just looked at that, I've scanned it, it's come as an SMS, there's no details given, they give me a website, kind of suck it up that indeed this is how it is, we're going to increase every month. But what I decided this year was to kind of do and dig a little deeper, and as I began to dig into this thing, my first response was kind of to rant a little bit, you know, how can they do it and all that kind of stuff. But once I calmed myself down, like 3 things that I've done to navigate my way through this so-called increase month. The first thing I did was to do a brief analysis of how this increase was going to impact me. I've never really done this before. The second thing I did was to kind of take a deep breath and be grateful, because I actually have a bank account, which many people don't have. In spite of these increases, I have so much to be grateful for. So the third thing I did was to make a plan to navigate my way, take the small voice that I have, and to, in a sense, hold people to account for why they're giving increases, while at the same time not ranting, but maintaining a kind of a generative spirit. So I want to just dig a little deeper into those 3 things. The first thing, as I said, I did a brief analysis of how this works. I do my day-to-day banking with Netbank, and so what I did was I went to the website and I kind of did this analysis. Now I have posted both a blog around this and the analysis on my website, and the link will be down below. And at the moment I'm paying 110 Rand a month as an admin fee, which I think is quite a reasonable fee. But they're going to raise that fee in 2020 by 4.5% to 115 Rand. Doesn't sound like a lot. I also have an overdraft facility on my account, and I pay 43 Rand a month for that overdraft facility. And in 2020, that's going up to 49 Rand, a 14% increase. A check deposit will cost me 45 Rand right now in 2019, and in 2020, I'll pay 65 Rand if I deposit a check, which is a 44% increase. I did a bit of research and analysis around Netbank. They have about 7 million clients, and I said to myself, well, let's assume that 500,000 of the 7 million, which is quite a small percentage, if 500,000 people have the savvy account that like I have, then that's going to generate an extra 30 million Rand just by increasing it by 4.5%. The overdraft facility, if the 500,000 people have an overdraft facility, it's also going to give them an extra 36 million Rand per annum. So they're going to earn 66 million Rand per annum without building a building, without employing anybody, without incurring costs. Just by making those 2 30-second, probably 1-minute adjustments, they're going to earn themselves a clean 66 million Rand in 2020. Wow, Netbank, you really are not helping yourself when there's a call to nationalized banks, and please, the last thing we want is the government to run the banks in South Africa. But I don't think you guys are helping yourself. I did my analysis, and like I said, I was determined that I'm not going to rant about this, make these kind of generalized statements about capitalism and the banks and all that kind of stuff, but it did cause me to go to the second area, was to take a deep breath and to be grateful. I'm so grateful, as I said earlier, that I have income. I've been into the branch here in my local Netbank in Durban North, and the people that I meet and the people I've worked with, they are excellent. They are well trained, they are incredibly engaging, and I've only had great service from the people at Netbank. But I don't think the way the fees are being increased that it is consistent with potentially who this bank could be. But I'll come back to this idea. I'm incredibly grateful. I'm so grateful that our legislation in South Africa kind of stood the test of time in 2008 when there was the economic downturn. You know, they talk about an economic crash in 2008, but really it was precipitated by greedy banks. And I'm so grateful that our banks weren't caught up in that. And for those who were investors in banks and had deposits in banks and never lost all their money. So well done to Netbank and to the other banks in our country, and to those who made the legislation to ensure that that didn't happen. I did analysis, I'm grateful, but the third thing I did was make a plan on how am I going to navigate between the smallness of my voice to in a sense, make this known, living a generative life, living a life that is free from these constraints upon our lives. Not to be kind of wound up and angry and ranting about the stuff, but to kind of live generatively. You see, part of what it means, I think, to be human as a Christ follower is that we realize that God is our source. That we combat this mentality that says there's not enough. There's actually more than enough. You see, capitalism thrives on fear, and fear comes as a result of a mentality that says there's not enough. And so we're continually trying to get ahead of the game so that we can make provision for our future. And that's not bad, but it's only harmful when it's done from a basis of fear, when it's done from a basis of there's not enough. I think materially for most people and for many people in our country do a lot better with more if they had more materially. But I've had the privilege of traveling fairly extensively in Africa and beyond in poor countries, and I've seen the generative spirit of people who have very little. If they have, they will share. If their neighbor hasn't, they will give. They're incredibly kind and generous with the stuff they have. And I want to learn from that. I don't want to get wound up because I have so much in a sense that I just want more. I want to live generatively. I want to live generatively immaterially, and I want to live generatively in a sense of my heart towards people, towards the world that I live in. And in a way live not being sucked into some kind of anger and frustration about things that perhaps could be done better by the people who have the power to do so. So those are my commitments. There's the scripture, Philippians, and the Apostle Paul kind of makes it very clear. He says, actually, I don't have a sense of needing anything personally. I've learned by now to be quite content, whatever my circumstances. I'm just as happy with a little as with much as with little. I found the recipe for being happy, whether full or hungry, hands full or hands empty. Whatever I have, whatever I am, I can make it through anything in the one who makes me who I am. And that's what I'm going to commit to. When I come to my finances, to be accountable. Secondly, I want to take breath when I look at some of the injustice, and I want to raise a voice and a concern and appeal to those who have the power to perhaps do better than what they're doing. And then thirdly, I want to live generatively. I want to live with a heart of abundance. I want to be able to give more materially. I want to be able to give more of encouragement and of hope to the people that I share this planet with. So, I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Please let me know your comments. I put links to all the various things I've quoted on. So thanks for watching. God bless.